emerging trend, almost epidemic style, involving people being upside down on their car loans. And I'm going to share some data on that so you guys will kind of see that. Also, if you have a question for me, don't ask. No, we're not doing stock options, right? So I know some of you are Prime members. This is all about the stock market. We're going to have a Prime session. We're going to do options next time. We don't want to talk over anybody's heads. And also, if you want to log in and get access to that, just go to drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com. All right. So let me share this with you because I think it's worth understanding because as you know, as we talk about here a lot, most people, unfortunately, financial literacy is just not a big thing in America. Responsibility, accountability, learning, knowledge, all that. This Uh-oh, with you. Hold on. Give me a second. Sorry, I was echoing a little bit. Sorry about that. And so ultimately, this is something that I think is a mistake. It's a problem. I encourage you not to participate in this. I encourage you to embrace financial intelligence the way you already have. Clearly, you have because you're here. Because I think that it's not just bad. It's going to keep getting worse. Because first of all, let me ask you this question just so we can understand where I'm coming from. Give me a yes if you feel like a lot of people are struggling financially. Give me a yes if you feel like most of your friends are, complaining about money, don't have enough money, are in too much debt, are having financial problems. Give me a yes if you feel like that's kind of the majority of what you see, say in social media, stuff like that. Give me a yes. Okay. So here's what's really disturbing about that. What's disturbing about that to me is that this is about as good as it's ever going to get. That's the crazy part. That's the part that, in my view, kind of makes me a little bit nervous. Is that this is a good economy? This, according to most economic measures, this is this isn't just a decent economy. This is a booming economy, right? So if you have this many people that are financially depressed during a booming economy, what do you think is going to happen when the recession gets here? What do you think is going to happen? Because the recession is coming. Just so you know, the recession is always coming. It's like capitalism. It's like it can be compared to crack. Like when you use crack and you get happy about it. I'm sure using crack is a wonderful experience, temporarily anyway. At some point you're going to crash. At some point, the high is going to turn into a low. And so capitalism in America, the way it's done with extensive use of debt and stuff like that, is it creates these really exaggerated highs. And you can't have that without having a crash. So there's a documentary I saw that I really liked called Boom Bust Boom. Boom Bust Boom was a brilliant documentary because what they did was they took some Nobel Prize winning economists in the documentary and in between they would have puppets singing about the economy. Like, the recession is when you have two straight quarters of negative GDP growth, right? And it was really entertaining to watch, but it was very informative because the people that they had on there that were people that I respected. They're really good at what they do. And one thing that they explained pretty well is that just the way Americans think, the way our government thinks about money and debt, it naturally creates booms and busts. You're gonna have, you're gonna have the highs, but you're also gonna have the lows. Just like, again, I compare it to crack. It's like, but you don't have to have an economy that's on crack. You can have an economy that's, on weed or something. But no, we have a crack economy. So that means that all this booming that we're having, the fact that the American economy is the strongest economy on earth, it's heavily accelerated by massive amounts of debt taken on by government officials, taken on by consumers, taken on by corporations. And when some of that starts to crumble, that's when you start seeing the crashes. So the crashes are going to be hard. They're going to continue to be hard. And what I talk to you guys a lot about when we're doing options class and stuff like that is I'm always saying, okay, don't forget winter is coming, the recession is coming, the crash is coming. Just enjoy the present, but prepare for the crash, prepare for the crash, prepare for the crash. Like even right now, you'll notice a lot of the stocks we were talking about this week that were doing extremely well. Today they're not doing so well, but I think that there's gonna be something much bigger coming on happening down the pike. So let me read this article to you about car loans. So this is on CNBC. It says a growing number of Americans with auto loans owe more than their vehicles are worth. That's what they call being upside down, where your debt is bigger than the value of the asset that you took the debt out on, right? It's like if I owed $500 because I got a candy bar 4 years ago, right? A candy bar is not worth $500, but upside down is where your debt exceeds the value of the asset that you went into debt to acquire. They said the average amount owed on upside down loans climbed to an all-time high of $6,458 during the third quarter, according to the company. I don't know. Oh, Edmunds.com. Okay. Upside down car loans aren't necessarily dire on their own, but uh, a growing number of consumers being underwater is another indicator of pressure on American consumers. And American consumers are under a lot of pressure because there's a lot of social pressure to take on lots of debt to maintain a lifestyle that might be difficult to afford otherwise. So it says here, the Auto Data and Consumer Research Company reports that the average amount owed on so-called upside down loans is $6,458. Upside down car loans, it's a sign. They said a sign that strain came last month when the Federal Reserve reported delinquency rates on car loans rose substantially above pre-pandemic levels to end 2023. They had fallen to historical lows during the pandemic, and the reason was because a lot of money was being flushed into the economy during the pandemic, and that's what caused the inflation. The inflation was caused because they handled the pandemic completely in the wrong way. We did not have the recession that they thought was going to happen, so they just doused the economy with money. They went into insane amounts of debt. So you had a big economic party that lasted for about 2 years, and then the party's over, and then you have the crash, and you're sitting here with all this debt. So in a way, it's like I go to the club and I go max out my credit card, and I pull $20,000 off my credit card. So for one day, I'm living like a baller, but I'm going to pay for that experience because now I'm deep in debt. Consumers owing a grand or two more than their cars are worth isn't the end of the world, but seeing such a notable share of individuals affected at the $10,000, even $15,000 level is nothing short of alarming, says Jessica Caldwell, Edmunds head of Insights, said in a release. Edmunds reports more than 1 in 5 consumers with negative equity owe more than $10,000 on their car loans. That includes 22% of the vehicle owners with negative equity who owe $10,000 or more, while 7.5% have negative equity of more than $15,000. Consumers can counter upside down car loans by holding on to the vehicles for longer periods. They can also they also can ensure regular maintenance is done to avoid additional drops in value and cost. With prices and interest rates being as high as they are, it's critical for consumers to think beyond the monthly payments, to be honest with themselves about their ownership habits. A 7-year loan is a one-way ticket to negative equity if you know you're not the type of person to keep a vehicle that long. Now, I'm gonna tell a story. I remember, and don't let me forget to share a couple stocks with you by the time we're done that I like right now. I remember when I had this terrible girlfriend in college, and she was just so mean. She was really just a bad human being. But she had this mother that was a pretty nice lady, and I was a finance major in college, and I went with this girl, this horrible girl, and her mother to buy a car. And I remember that when we went to buy this car, the car dealer kept on talking about the monthly payment, and she was a pretty financially responsible woman, so she said, I'm not paying more than, let's say it was 250 a month. And the guy was like, well, why don't you pay, 280? You can get this car. And she's like, I'm not paying more than 250. He said, oh, how about 270? And she said, I'm not paying more than 250. So she, I mean, she just stuck with her guns, and I thought that was hilarious. So we sat there, and I was just watching and observing, and the guy comes in and he goes, good news, good news. I got the car, I got the payment down. Now you only have to pay 240. And I sat there and I said, I in my little 19-year-old self, I said, what did you change anything? I said, is the car cheaper now? And what we found out was what I suspected, which was they didn't reduce the price of the car, they just extended the term of the loan. So I explained to her mother, because I liked her mother. I didn't like she was her daughter was terrible, but her mother was very nice. And I said, they didn't actually change anything except for the amount of time that you're going to be in debt. So I don't think this is a great deal. If your goal is to stay at a certain level, I said he needs to make a price concession. He needs to reduce the price of the car, not extend the term of the loan. So the key idea is that in general, if they get you, this is where financial consciousness comes into play. You guys know we do financial consciousness every day. One element of financial consciousness is being aware of the different variables that might affect your economic outcomes. So when you're talking about a car loan, you've got the interest rate, you've got the payment, the monthly payment, you've got the total value of the asset that you're purchasing, the total cost you're going to pay, et cetera. Right. And I think that that's it. Yeah. Time, interest rate, payment, and the total value. If one of those variables moves, then another variable must move. Do you understand? If one thing moves, then something else must change. So what he did was, what would have been ideal is if he came back and said the payment is lower because I also reduced the total cost of the car, then that would have been fair to her. But what he basically was saying that the payment is lower because I took time and I stretched time out a little bit, right? So you're going to pay the same amount or pay a lower amount, but you're going to pay for a longer period of time. You're going to be locked in this debt for a longer period of time, and you're still going to pay the same price for the car because I don't want to give up anything on my side of the table. So anyway, so don't go buy a car where you just focus on the monthly payment. That's an easy trap. They can easily fool you with that. Okay. So here's a few things that I want you to also know in terms of what's going on with car notes right now. That's very disturbing. First off, many car loans come with very high interest rates now. A lot of them come with interest rates as high as 15 to 20%, especially when you don't have good credit. They love to say, we'll give you that car loan, even though you have bad credit. And so if your goal is to look fly in your new vehicle, then you're going to be looking fly in a car that's going to be upside down in equity because they're going to charge you 20% interest, because how else would you get a Mercedes Benz with a 500 credit score, right? That's hard to do. Over time, you may end up paying thousands more for the original car price, because what you have to do is you have to compensate for the additional risk that comes with the fact that your credit score isn't as high as it should be or as it could be, right? And no disrespect to those who have bad credit. I have bad credit myself. So, but there are ways to fix that. I think it's drboycredit.com. Amani's in the chat, by the way. Amani can share the link if you want to work on your credit score. We do have a credit program in the Black Business School. I think it's drboycredit.com. All right, depreciation. The moment you drive off the lot, and a lot of you, hopefully you know this. If you don't, now you know. A car can lose, did y'all know this? That it can lose 20% of its value the minute you drive it off the lot. So that means that literally the minute you drive the car off the lot, if you have a bad deal, you could be upside down on day one. Literally on day one, you could be upside down where you owe more than the damn car is worth because your car drops in value the minute that you drive it off the lot. That's a concern. So, one way my wife and I avoid that is when we buy cars, we just don't buy new cars. Well, why do I have to? You can get a nice, really detailed used car that has the new car smell, for a substantial discount on the regular price. I bought a car. It was an Infinity. We don't drive raggedy cars. We just don't. I'm 53. I don't want to drive hoopties no more. I've had many of those. And I went to get an Infinity. First, we looked at I like SUVs. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe as a guy, I just like the big trucks. So we went to Lincoln and they showed us a brand new Navigator, and that freaking thing was super expensive. It was like $110,000 or something like that. Now, could I afford it? Yeah, probably, but why would I waste money on something like that? No disrespect if you have the new Navigator. If that's important to you, then you should do that. You just have to make sure you compensate somewhere else, invest extra money or whatever, right? So I'm not saying don't enjoy your money. I'm just saying pick your spots, pick your battles. That's my point. Okay. So this Navigator was 110. I was like, I'm not spending $110,000 on that truck. So we went down to the Infinity place. I said, we had an Infinity. I kind of like it. Let's get another one. So we went down to the Infinity place. Now, because their brand is not as strong as Lincoln and Cadillac and all that, because we also looked at Escalades. We did not like the Escalade. Um, the Infinity had similar trucks of similar luxury, but they were like $30,000 cheaper than the Lincoln because the Lincoln is a stronger brand than Infinity. And I remember a car dealer explaining that. Like he showed me a Mercedes and he went to the lot across the street that they also owned and had another car. He said, if you look at the specs, these cars are identical, but the Mercedes is $10,000 more because people enjoy the validation of having that little logo on the front of their car, right? You have Mercedes on the front of your car, it makes you feel better about yourself. It makes you feel like you can impress your neighbors and all this other stuff. And so, anyway, this Infinity was like 80,000. I was like, I like Infinities, but I like that car, but I don't feel right spending $80,000 on a car. So then we were, me and my wife told the lady, I was like, let's think about this. Let's go to lunch or something. So when we were walking out, I said, you know what? I looked over and I saw the lot of used cars that were like about 3 years old. I said, let's go look over here real quick. And so what I found was we both at the same time we saw the same truck and we were like, this is it. And it was 3 years old. I think we bought it. It was a 2018. We bought it in 2021. And it was super nice, except the price was $30,000 cheaper than the new version. It was like about 50,000. I was like, okay, now we're talking. I get the feeling of driving a nice, comfortable vehicle because I don't want to drive a hoopty. I told you that. At the same time, I'm not paying this extra $30,000 premium that comes with having a brand new car. So to let you know how the story ends, I bought that freaking thing. It's 2024. I've had it for 3 years. It's a 2018. I just got it detailed. I still feel like I'm driving a brand new truck. I do. If you rode in the truck, you would say, "Dang, boys, this is nice." People get in my car, they're like, "You live in large, man." And I'm like, "No, this is a used truck, and that I think a lot of people could afford something like this." And you just take care of it, right? All that good stuff. And you don't have to like the idea of buying new cars is something that if you do it, I encourage you just to at least do it consciously. Understand that you're spending a ton of money for the fact, just for the idea that it's brand new, right? And I think this is important for us to understand as Black people because a lot of us grew up seeing people with the brand new Cadillac or the new 1999 or the new 2008, and we think that that's how you're supposed to buy cars, and that's very 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 expensive. Largely because literally, think about this: if you can drive a car for 5 miles off the lot and the value drops by 20%, the question I would ask from a financial consciousness standpoint is was that value ever there in the first place or was it just a figment of my imagination? It is not logical. It makes no logical sense that the same damn car with an extra 20 miles on it is going to be worth 20% less unless the original value was fabricated. Do you understand? Right? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, so you were literally about to pay for something that didn't really exist. It was all psychological. And a lot of economic value is very psychological. Like why is it that the Kardashian family can make $1 billion a year because Kim made a sex tape 20 years ago? That doesn't even make any sense. That's illogical, right? But it works because everybody buys into if everyone buys into the same illusion, then the illusion ultimately seems to become real, but you don't have to buy into those illusions. So new cars are a financial trap. It's a pathway. New cars at high interest rates are a direct pathway into being upside down and being in the financially desperate situation where you are paying more on the loan than the actual vehicle's worth. Also, long-term loans to make monthly payments, lenders offer longer terms, up to 7 to 8 years, it's because they want to keep that monthly cost down, so you get to drive away in something that makes you feel good. Hidden fees. Many car loans come with hidden fees like loan origination fees, prepayment penalties, etc. Prepayment penalty is where if you do come into money and you decide you want to get rid of the debt, they're going to charge you for that because their mindset is okay. Now that we got you locked into something and you're going to provide us with financial security, we need to know that you're going to be doing that for X number of years. So if you decide, hey, I want to get out of this deal, well, you're going to have to pay to get out of that. You have to pay for your freedom, so to speak. The risk of repossession. If you can't keep up with the payments, the lender can repossess your car, damaging your credit and leaving you without a vehicle. Even after repossession, you might still owe money if the car's sale doesn't cover the loan balance. So when your car gets repossessed, I've had a car repossessed. That's happened to me. That happened to me when I was younger. And they take the car, they sell it for garbage because why do they care? They're gonna it's all profit for them. But then you still owe that debt, and you can end up paying for many many years. Take it from a person who's made financial mistakes myself. We all do. So don't feel bad. Do not feel bad. Just be informed and make decisions that give you a balance between what you want and what you need. I think that everyone in here deserves to drive a nice car if that's what you want. Everyone does. But I would encourage you to look at all the creative ways you can be comfortable and enjoy your life without it being incredibly costly. And that means ignoring those goofy commercials on BET where they show some black lady driving a Lincoln Navigator. And because you identify with this person in the commercial, you go buy you a brand new Lincoln Navigator too. All right. So let me, okay, put your question in the Q&A section if you have a question. And what I want to mention quickly is one stock that I actually kind of like is Boeing, actually. I'm going to buy shares of Boeing. And it sounds insane because Boeing is just literally, it's literally trying to prove itself as one of the crappiest companies in American history. But here's the thing about Boeing. Here's the secret with Boeing that's just kind of crazy. Is have y'all followed it? Give me a yes if you follow this, and let me know if you followed the tragedy with Boeing lately. They were where their planes are falling apart, and they're even messing up in the space race. They can't even get the astronauts out of space. Like Elon Musk has to go save them. So Boeing is like they've become kind of the white version of Soul Plane. That's how bad they've become. Their reputation is just damaged, and they're dealing with a strike right now that's costing them tens of millions, if not, if how much per day? I could have sworn it was like a few $100 million a day, but that's not. That number sounds crazy. But it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. But let me tell you why I'm looking up the ticker symbol BA right now. BA is the ticker symbol for Boeing, I believe. Yeah. And why I'm buying shares of stock in Boeing. It's because Boeing may not be a great company, but buying a stock doesn't come down to whether you think a company is good or not. Buying stock comes down to whether or not you think the stock might be underpriced. Okay. So what's happened with Boeing is that Boeing stock has logically and accurately been obliterated because of its very public failures that have happened with the company. But what has to happen, what tends to happen sometimes in the market is sometimes the market overreacts. The stock has dropped by 39% this year. Over the last 1 year period, it's dropped by 17%. The last 6 months, it's dropped by about 9%. There are many experts who believe that Boeing has been underpriced. So the reason I'm going to buy a few shares of Boeing right now, it doesn't take long to buy stock. It just takes a second, is because my best belief, my best guess is that Boeing is a company that has been hit hard, but it could actually make a strong recovery. There's no guarantee, but once Boeing fixes some of its issues, maybe it shifts its culture, maybe it gets a new CEO, you can see an increase in the stock price. Also, for just what I consider to be inexplicable reasons, Boeing is one of those companies that is almost in this category being too big to fail. You would think that a company that was operating like a Soul Plane, like Soul Plane for all these years, would be put out of business. Like you would think the government would step in and say, "Okay, we're done. We're not giving you any more contracts or whatever." But I guess because Boeing is kind of the OG of aviation, and the government doesn't have a lot of other options, they're still doing business with Boeing. And so long story short, that's one of the reasons why I like Boeing as an investment. And another stock that I like is a company called Ibotta Incorporated. The ticker symbol is IBTA. IBTA, India Boyce, um, Tacky Alpha, right? India Boyce is a Tacky Alpha. How about that? Anyway, so yeah, IBTA, IBTA. So again, this is not investing advice. I never give investing advice ever. But if you want to know what I'm buying, that's it. Also, if you log in at drboycestocks.com, that's drboycestocks.com, there's a list of what Dr. Boyce is buying. Everybody in the Black Stock Market Program has access to that. So feel free to go take a look at some of the other stocks. I'll put a list in there today. So feel free to go take a look at that. All right. So with that being said, what else is happening right now? Well, today the market is not that strong. That's to be expected. The market is not supposed to be strong every day. Um, I'm looking through some headlines here. Let's see here. Okay. Walgreens is having problems. Walgreens is closing 1,200 stores. And also this is interesting. A lot of universities are closing in 2025. I think that cheaper alternatives like online learning and stuff like that, it's pretty much doing what it's supposed to do, which is to replace a lot of the traditional education. I'm a believer, as a college professor, I don't believe that going to college is necessary for a lot of people, especially people that just want to learn something. If you just want to learn, I don't know if a university is the best place to learn. I think that you can learn in almost any environment. And there are lots of people like me. Like I'm a former college professor, but I teach most of my economics and finance online. There are lots of smart people online that you can learn from. And so I think what universities are experiencing is kind of a reckoning or a chickens coming home to roost over the fact that they have unfairly been increasing the cost of college tuition for many years. And I think that people are starting to wisen up to the fact that all that debt is not worth it. So a lot of universities, as a result, are starting to shut down, especially small private schools that have very high tuition. When I was doing my work, I did my master's work in mathematics at the University of Kentucky. So I had a lot of friends that were graduating from the PhD program. And I remember noticing how a lot of my friends would graduate, and I'd say, well, what school are you going to teach at? And a lot of them would be going to teach at some school I've never heard of before, some little small liberal arts school that was as obscure as they come, but the tuition would be like an insane amount of money, like maybe 25, $30,000 a year, which back then was a lot of money. And I was like, who would go to this unknown school and pay all this money? If I'm going to pay all this money, I'm going to go to an elite school, a school that has a name, Harvard, Yale, Stanford, or something. I'm not going to pay an insane amount of money to go to some school that nobody's heard of. I might as well go to a community college or a state school. At least they have, a state school have name recognition. And so I think a lot of that business model is starting to fall apart. It says here, as enrollment numbers dwindle, a growing number of institutions struggle to stay afloat, as they should be. It should be a more efficient model. Universities, in my view, have been the robber barons of our society for many, many years. Smaller, less selective schools have been hardest hit, while the country's most elite colleges and universities continue to thrive. So just like I was saying, when the school has a name recognition and it can open doors for you, uh, not just from job searching, but also networks. My brother went to Cornell to get his MBA, and I was fully in support of that. Not because I thought he could get a good job. He didn't even want a job. We were already running a business. He said, "I like being free, and I make more money being free than I would working for somebody." So, as all his classmates were going to these interviews to make 150, 200,000 a year or whatever, he didn't do any interviews. But I still supported him going to school. And the reason I supported it was, number one, he did get a scholarship, so that cut the cost a lot. But number two, I said you'd have exposure to the Cornell University network. And now, as a result, my brother has billionaires in his network. He just told me this morning, he said, yeah, I'm going to meet with this billionaire. I can't say his name, but he said, yeah, well, I'm going to have a meeting with him and do a presentation for him in a week. Right. So ultimately, that networking effect is really important. Studies show that if you have a quality network of people that are doing well financially, that all think in a certain way, that will elevate your condition in life, that will elevate your situation. So one of the incentives, one of my little quick little plugs on the All Black National Convention is that is your network. That's your elite class of people that you can participate with. It doesn't cost you that much. There are networks of Black people doing business that cost thousands of dollars to be a part of. And I love my friend Lamar Tyler, but his group is very expensive, right? But it's a good investment for the people that are part of it because they're making millions of dollars because of who they know. Well, also at the All Black National Convention, it costs, I think the tickets are like $200 or something like that, and then up to the highest levels are less than 1,000. But in that space, you have millionaires in that space, you have business owners in that space, you have people that are upwardly mobile in that space, productive people in that space. So if you get into those spaces, then what you'll find is that it's easier to find opportunities, it's easier to find investors, it's easier to find people that will buy your product. So that's one of the other reasons why being a part of a community can go a long way. So my brother, the Cornell community, he's made money from that, a lot of money from that. And so I encourage us as Black people to also have our own communities where we can also do well together. So anyway, they said at least 20 colleges closed in 2024. More are about to shut down this year. Although more than 40 colleges have closed since 2020, according to Best Colleges. As the sticker price of some private universities near six figures a year, students have increasingly opted for less expensive public schools or alternatives to a four-year degree altogether, such as trade programs or apprenticeships. I think that the trades are and should make a major comeback. They are coming back. They should come back. Having a real skill is valuable than a lot of the college degrees that I see. I see a lot of students graduating from college and they have this piece of paper, but they don't know how to do anything. Um, that's not really going to help you in this economy, right? A lot of you know this. A lot of you are well beyond college age, but a lot of you have kids and grandkids. So it's really important that they know how to do something, even if they just know how to start a business or have some sort of skill. I think in the age of AI, it's going to become really, really interesting to see how that all shapes up too. A lot of business owners are like, well, why would I hire you to do something that AI can do for me for free? Right? That's what is happening, and I think it's very important to know how to navigate those economic landmines instead of investing all your time and energy into something that isn't gonna make you hireable. Like even things that we used to think were untouchable, like computer programming, right? Back in the day, there used to be this whole, you know this whole thing with coding. Anybody remember that where everybody was saying like all the black kids need to learn how to code? And I'm not against that. I think coding's fine. It's a great skill. It teaches you how to think, teaches you logic. But a Jensen Wong with NVIDIA, he already said you don't have to learn how to code anymore. Everybody's a coder now. He said with AI, everybody can write a computer program. Just tell AI what to give me a code that will create a video game for me that does blah 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 blah. And the AI can do that, right? So it doesn't mean that everything is sort of being removed from the economy. It means you have to have consciousness to think about where the puck is going. So you can be prepared for what the future is going to look like, and you got to prepare your kids. And I think one of the safest moves right now is you see AI coming. You don't know how it's going to affect the world, but you do know it's going to make money. So one of the moves that I've made is I said, okay, let me just invest in these companies that are going to benefit from AI. I don't have to know where it's going exactly. I just want to be connected with the people that know where it's going. So that's why I consistently buy shares. There's an AI ETF, AIQ, AIQ. I buy a lot of shares in that. It's made me money already. Hopefully they'll keep doing that. And also I have a list of AI stocks. If you text the word stock to 87948, I can send you that list. So just text stock to the word stock to 87948, and immediately you'll get a list of the AI stocks as well as some other stuff from the Black Business School that we have that can help you. Investing really is more important than ever. Even if you look at some of the stuff that we're doing in the Prime program, where we're generating the income by selling the stock options, that's to me one of the safest ways to build your business going forward, and knowing that this is never going to go away. The stock market's never going to disappear. The stock market is never going to stop just vomiting money out everywhere, right, to the people that participate in it. So honestly, I just really kind of think that moving forward in this economy, the safest moves to make are to know how to be an investor. And build that capital base. If you do that, then you're going to be okay. Because the water's rising. If you have a capital base, then your boat will always be above the water. If you're trying to be a worker in that economy, especially unskilled, I don't know what that looks like. I can't, no one can predict that at this point. No one knows what Elon Musk's robots are going to be able to do in 5 years or 10 years because they're still in the infancy. And you see this sort of happening right now. You got to get ready. Millions and millions of jobs are going to be displaced. Studies actually already show that Amazon is they're replacing one, like I want to say that for every robot they acquire, they're replacing three workers or something like that. And so this is what the world's going to look like. All right. So let me answer some of your questions. And if you have a question, I see it if it's in the Q&A section. If it's not in the Q&A section, I won't see it. So if you have a question, put it in the Q&A section. And yeah, so let's see here. Dwayne Boyd, what about investing in the companies that make engines for Boeing since they're planning on bringing in 25 billion to offset what's happening? That's not a bad idea. I'm not opposed to that. Um, I haven't researched companies that make engines for Boeing, but um, I know that whoever's doing it, they're not doing a very good job right now. Boeing's just a mess. What happened to Boeing, from what I've gathered, is that they used to focus on making the best airplanes possible, and then they became overly capitalistic, and that caused them to um, get to the point where they were thinking more about the money they were making than the quality of the product, and that caused them a lot of problems. But there are companies like GE and Raytheon that make engines for companies like Boeing, and that might be worth taking a look at for sure. That's not a bad idea. All right. What is a mutual fund you would buy today? Well, let's see. I mentioned an ETF, AIQ. I kind of think things from Vanguard and BlackRock and stuff are pretty good. So if you just look that up, you can find a lot of stuff there. SPY and VOO are what we talk about for the $5 a day plan. If you do that consistently, you'll have wealth in less than a generation. It's very easy to build wealth if you are disciplined and consistent, even if you don't have a lot of money. The problem is that most of us are not really trained to be disciplined. So the lack of wealth is more directly related to the bad habits that they give us when we're young than it is to a lack of opportunity. And this is a statement that will probably offend a lot of people because the narrative that is consistently fed to us is that we can't get ahead because of this person, that person, the corporations, the government. All that's true, but it's not true in the way that you think. It's not that they're necessarily blocking your ability to do certain things. It's that early in your life, they're training you not to do these things. So they've got you kind of lock, they got the lock on your brain, on your mind, because there's nothing that's going to stop you from investing, Taco Bell money, right? Like, but you're trained to go buy Taco Bell instead. There's nothing stopping you from buying Apple stock every time you bought an iPhone, but you wanted the iPhone because they trained you to want the iPhone, but not to want the Apple stock. If they had marketed the Apple stock as much as they marketed the iPhone, then you would be buying the stock and not the phone, right? And studies show that if a person since 2001 had simply bought the same amount, had bought a new iPhone every year, but then took that same amount and bought Apple stock every year, they would have hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe over $1 million right now. So anyway, let's keep going. Do you have any thoughts on AITX? Asked Michael Ruff. Let's see here. AITX. I never heard of the company. Let's see. Let me see what AITX looks like. Okay, I'm looking it up on Robinhood. AITX is Applied Industrial Technologies. Okay, it's $229. It's had a really good year, 33% this year. It's gone up 300% the last 5 years. Um, I don't hate it. Let's see. Applied Industrial Technologies engages in the manufacture and distribution of industrial parts and products. It operates through the service center based distribution and engineered solution segments. The service center based distribution segment is involved in local service centers and distribution centers. They keep saying the same words, right? With a focus on providing products and services addressing the maintenance and repair of motion control infrastructure and production equipment. I have no idea what they're talking about here. The company was founded in 1923. They seem to make a profit. They have a tiny dividend yield, not very big. Price earnings ratio is okay. They're profitable. They seem like a company that knows how to make money. Um, yeah, I don't hate it. I think it's fine. It'd be fine to add to the portfolio for sure. I mean, is there anything special about it where I say, oh my God, I gotta own this stock? Not necessarily, but if you like a stock, you could dollar cost average your way into it, where you just set it and forget it. That's really though sometimes with investing, the less you think about your portfolio, the more it's going to grow. If you're kind of watching it every day, it's kind of like watching grass grow, or when you would sit in school and you'd watch the clock move and it never moves when you're watching it. But if you look away and do something else, then it moves, right? So same thing is true with investing. Most people that become wealthy become what David Bach refers to as automatic millionaires. These are people that autopilot invest small amounts every single day and or every single week or every month or whatever, and then over time their money just grows into something massive. So it's really about sort of having those basic simple habits, not going too deep in debt, taking a percentage of your income, investing consistently. If you do that and put it in the right places, meaning in the stock market, I'm not talking about the right stocks, I'm talking about just the right place, then your money will naturally grow. The stock market is an economic garden. It has what we refer to in the Black Business School as financial fertility. Financial fertility, and I talk about that a lot in my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. Financial fertility is basically just this idea that money, if you give it a space to grow, it's going to naturally grow on its own. It's naturally fertile, and it's more fertile than any human being. It's fertile. It's fertile like bunny rabbits. If you're consistently putting your money in a fertile space, that money's going to multiply. That's what creates that abundance that we talk about in church and stuff. So the book is called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can get a copy at drboycebooks.com. So feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. Do you have a list of good $10 stocks? I do, Teresa. Teresa, I don't. Let's see. I think if you text the word stock to 87948, I send that out to you guys. So you can try that. And also if you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, they can find it. Because I did make a list of stocks under $10. I just don't have it in front of me, but I did put that together for you guys. Let's see here. John Trey says, Dr. B, I bought my first 100 shares of stock today. It's charge point, but hey, I'm in the game. Good for you, man. Good for you. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now just keep on doing that. Like, don't just stop like with that. Make it a habit. Make it a habit. Make it a habit. Think of investing like food. It's like if I want to eat, I don't eat one time. I eat every day or I eat regularly, right? Or exercise. If you exercise, you don't go to the gym once and then say, "Oh, I'm done for life." No, you might go twice a week, right? So, yeah, congratulations, man. This is big, right? If you are able to start that new habit and consistently do that throughout the course of your life, you could be setting your family on a whole different trajectory than they were going before. It's like when they were talking about sending, like they were like, well, what if a comet or a meteor was headed to Earth? How could they keep it from hitting the Earth? And what the one of the plans, if you saw it, was like they were like, we'll send a rocket up to meet the comet, and we're not going to blow it up or anything. We're just going to tap it, right? They said literally, if we just tap it and nudge it a little bit to the right, it'll completely miss Earth. It'll be millions of miles off of the original trajectory because we just tapped it, right? And because there's an accumulation, right? Now that I'm instead of going, you know, 45 degrees north, south, northwest, or whatever, I'm going to go 50 degrees, right, northwest. And that makes a big difference when you accumulate that slight change in the process. So by you making that slight nudge of an adjustment in your family culture, that's going to accumulate. You know, your grandkids might be doing something completely different when it comes to money because you made that little choice. If somebody in your family had in 1940 decided that we're gonna start investing 20 cents a week in the stock market, your whole life would probably be very different. It would be very different. Little things at create big things. Like think of it like when people become drug addicts, they don't start off in high school saying, I want to be a crackhead living on the street. It starts with something small, like here, let me try a cigarette. Let me hang with the wrong kids at school. Let me smoke a little bit of this weed. Let me try this Molly real quick and see what that's like. Next thing you know, everything's different. Do you see? So the same thing is also true for good habits. So that little difference that you made, that little thing that you changed, process this. Think about this. I bet you that there could it's some chance that maybe nobody else in your family in the last 200 years has ever done this before. So don't minimize what you just did. Maximize it. Make it big. It's supposed to be big. It's gonna be big, but you have to be consistent. If you're consistent, it will become big. It will make a difference. I wish I had a grandparent who did that for me in 1952. I'd have $10 million in the bank right now. All right. So anyway, let me keep going. Congratulations, man. I'm very proud of you. All right. So let's see here. Oh, the AITX I'm referring to is an AI stock. It's a penny stock. When I looked up AITX, that's what I saw. But let me just tell you about the penny stocks, man. I don't mess with those. Those are not those are always. Oh, that was AIT. Okay, I see. AITX didn't even come up in Robinhood. No, I do not like it. I, it's penny stocks are. It's like the sexiest woman you ever met, but she has like 5 STDs, right? It's very tempting. It's something that looks like it's an easy way to make money, but it's a trap, bro. Don't do it. Um, because penny stocks typically trade in what you call a very bad market that doesn't have like in the science of finance, we can identify what a good market looks like. A good market is very liquid and has lots of traders and very efficient, what we call efficient pricing. Penny stocks do not have that. They are like just the nasty neighborhood of investing, right? It's like somebody says, "Well, you can go make a whole lot of money. Just come with me to the hood, and let's go to some dark alley with drug addicts and murderers everywhere, and I'll show you where the money's at." You better not do that. You're gonna get robbed and killed. So, with penny stocks, the regulation's not there, the liquidity's not there. It's just not a good place to put money. But it's very tempting because someone gives you this false logic that says, "Oh, well, the stock is only 45 cents, and if it goes up to $1, look at how much money you're gonna, or if it goes up to $5, you know your money will grow really fast." If it was that easy, then everybody would be doing it, and nobody does it. It's sophisticated investors don't do that. Um, just like when we were talking earlier about this morning in Money in the Morning, we were talking about the man that made $12 an hour who had a $500,000 portfolio. He didn't do that with penny stocks. He did that with blue chips, S&P 500 companies that are making billions of dollars, that are running the freaking economy, that know how to make money better than anybody else in the world. So if I want to make money, then my goal is to align myself as much as possible with the people that know how to make money. If you want to get started with investing, one good place to start is the $5 a day plan is the URL. Write this down. It's blackwealthmasterplan.com. Somebody type that in if you could. Blackwealthmasterplan.com. Also, we have a whole stock market program if you're not If you haven't tried it yet, it's really good. It's the black theblackstockmarketprogram.com. And I make it black because I'm black and I believe in black wealth. That's what I'm passionate about. I'm not really passionate about other people making other people rich. They already know how to be rich. I want to see what our people can do. So I'm black first, and there's not because I hate anybody, it was just because that's what I believe in. So you can feel free to go to theblackstockmarketprogram.com. If you like stock options, generating income from stock options is a really powerful way to make a really good ROI, and we've refined the science to make it pretty safe and very effective. So, if you want to participate in the Prime program, you can go to drboyceprime.com, drboyceprime.com. Everything's recorded. There's a ton of material there. You can get started there this afternoon. And I guarantee if you have a decent amount of money to invest, a few thousand, maybe say 10,000, 20,000 or more, you'll be super impressed with how much income you can generate, and it solves that problem of income generation, which is very different from growth. Growth is where you plant a seed and let it grow. Income generation is where you create an apple tree in your backyard where you can get apples off of it and eat, where you can feed yourself, right? So that's what the Prime program does. And I know a lot of you are Prime members. So if you are a Prime member, feel free to say something in the chat. Give your honest assessment so others can kind of see that this really does work. This is not hype. All right, so it's how I make my money actually. All right, so let's see. Any particular sector for dividend stocks, or what is important in choosing some? I did make a list of dividend stocks. That again, if you text stock to 87948, you can get that list. Um, I want to say one company I know that pays a decent dividend is like Chevron. Chevron has a good dividend, but there are lots of other dividend companies. I bet Coca-Cola has a good dividend, because Coca-Cola is what they call a cash cow. And the ticker symbol for Coca-Cola is KO. And it's not a company that's going to make you rich, but it's a company that will give you that consistent long-term growth without a ton of risk. Well, their dividend's about 2.7%. You probably do better than that. But yeah, so if you're looking for a dividend stock, let me see here. I think that there's like mutual funds that only invest in dividend paying stocks too. So let me see here. Like you can get a Schwab US Dividend Equity ETF. That ticker symbol is SCHD. And that's again, it's not going to make you rich, but it holds companies like Home Depot, BlackRock, Cisco Systems, Chevron, Lockheed Martin, Bristol Myers Squibb, Verizon, Pfizer, Texas Instruments, etc. And that stuff like that will keep you pretty safe financially for the most part. All right, so yes, Sean says UPST is flying right now. Do you think it will continue to rise? Nobody knows. You cannot predict the movement of an individual stock. You just can't. That's Upstart. Okay, Upstart has done, wow, 100% in the last 3 months. Woo, I wish I'd invested in that with you. Um, well, I don't know. I don't think the analysts love it. A lot of analysts are recommending a hold instead of a buy. And you have to be careful when the stock has gone up this much because it could mean that that it could easily crash. So the thing about it is like it's easy to identify which stocks have gone up, and what people will do is they'll tend to rush toward the stocks that have done well because they think it's going to keep on doing well. But that's kind of a recipe for disaster. So as I look at Upstart, seeing how well it's done doesn't make me want to buy more of the stock. It makes me wish I could had a time machine so I could go back and buy it, 2 weeks ago. And also the fact that it's gone up 37% this week probably means that it's grabbed a lot of attention, which means that, yeah, you probably have a pretty active options market. You probably have a lot of people that want to buy options on it because everybody's looking for a fast buck. And I'm looking at the options here, and it's a good stock to sell options on. So if you're a Prime member and you like to sell stock options, then this UPST could be a stock worth looking at. But in general, in terms of investing, I don't have an interest in investing in it. But if you are invested in it, I congratulate you. That's pretty awesome. All right, so let's see. Melissa Sobers. I don't know who Melissa Sobers is, but if your name is Melissa Sobers, I'm glad you're here and I love you. Let's see. Dr. Boyce, I tried to get your offer for the recent weekend where you do a free trial, a low cost introductory offer, but I couldn't register, but I keep waiting for confirmation. I don't know. I don't know what that. Okay, you're inspired by the commentary. Okay, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. Can you email support at theblackbusinessschool.com? Also, Amani is in the chat. Amani, one of our support team members, is right here inside the Zoom. So you can talk to Amani right now about the issue and she can help you resolve that. So feel free to do that. Let's see, or you can email support@theblackbusinessschool.com. Okay, let's do a few more questions. Let's see. I want to get into the prime course and stock options investing. Okay, good, Michael. Well, yeah, just go to drboyceprime.com, Dr. Boyce, Prime, and you can take a look and see what you think. Let's see, Randy, what is your opinion on EVGO? It's been moving well the past few weeks. EVGO, EVGO, EVGO. Okay, so let me look it up. Okay, EVGO. Um, Okay, $7. Ooh, it's gone up 86% in the last 3 months. The last month, okay, so it shot up a lot. They provide electric vehicle charging stations, okay. Um, it's recommended. I mean, yeah, it looks like it might be a good company to add to the portfolio if you're interested in the charging thing. I'm deeply concerned about the fact that it's gone up so much. When a stock goes up that much in a short period of time, it worries me a little bit because what's happened is that suddenly, for whatever reason, the expectations of the company are very, very high. So that means that if something happens and the expectations are not met, you could be in for a crash. So if I was going to invest in the stock because maybe I believe it's going to keep going up, then I would consider maybe getting some put options to protect me in case the stock collapses. And I wouldn't put more than 5% of my portfolio in that stock. Okay. All right. So let's see here. All right. So let's see. Next question is, oh, you want the master plan? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. If you email support@theblackbusinessschool.com, Michael, they will take good care of you. They are all sweet, wonderful people. And we really respect those of you that are part of what we're doing, that are part of the movement, that believe in the Black Business School. I'm not playing. I'm not out here playing with y'all. Like we're really building a university. We have 160,000 students around the world, which makes us probably bigger than any HBCU anywhere. And we have PhD level people. So you can learn from the same experts you would get at a major university. And we're focused specifically on our people. I think that we're better than any institution on earth when it comes to what we do, which is Black wealth. There's no other place where there is literally a Black financial therapy department where we are focused on, cutting edge therapeutic techniques to deal with the psychology that's blocking Black wealth building, right? And that's what, I wouldn't call me and my wife a power couple. That's not what we're trying to be, but I got a powerhouse wife. Like she's not a joke when it comes to high level therapy. She trains PhD level therapists, right? So you got the best of the best. You got a crackpot A team in terms of what we're doing here. You're not going to find it at Harvard, Yale, Stanford, no other place because they're not thinking about Black wealth. Black wealth needs surgeons. You need Black wealth surgeons that are going to really get to the heart of the issue, fix the issue, and we're getting it done. We're doing it at a high level, and I'm super happy about it. And so I hope you guys will see some of that and implement that in your family. These techniques work. This is based on science and it's not hard to implement. That's the strength is that number one is cutting edge. Number two, it's easy to implement, right? So like the 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, I wrote that book because I said, what are 10 simple things a family could do that's going to really set their wealth trajectory on a whole different level? That's what that book does, right? And so these are some things that we do. Feel free to just sort of look around. You're not gonna find this anywhere else, not nowhere else that I've ever seen anywhere. So anyway, let me keep going. Lalani says, hello, Dr. Boyce. Looking forward to the A, B, and C. Okay, good. Look forward to meeting you there as well. At what time and day will you be meeting with the prime students? I think it's on Sunday. The schedule for the convention is allblacknationalconvention.com. So you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. You can see all the experts that we're going to have next week, as well as because it's in 10 days now. So we're going to be in Lombard, Illinois. It's where we're going to meet physically. It's going to be hundreds and hundreds of you there. It is small enough that you get interpersonal. You can talk to the speakers. You can get to know them. You can become friends with them, do business with them. But it's big enough where there's a lot of people there, right? But we're not trying to do thousands of people. This is not a concert. This is not a party. But this is a family reunion. So you can have fun, but you also get a chance to learn. And I want you to connect and I want you to walk away with your play cousins, your family members. I created that space because a lot of you are lonely. A lot of you tell me if you know what I'm talking about. Like a lot of you are the only people in your family who's even thinking this way. Some of you can't even get your own spouse to even take a listen, to take a moment to try to understand what you're doing. And that's hard. It's really hard to be efficient and forward thinking and optimistic and thoughtful about your experience and to be in the middle of a culture where so many people are caught in this cycle of victimhood and the victim mentality and or but self-destructive victimhood, right? Which is just a double whammy. You're destroying yourself and then you're not even taking accountability for the crazy things that you're doing. So this is a special space. It's a very carefully cultivated space and it works. It freaking works. We got families that have been doing this 5, 10 years deep. I talked to Caden. He came through the Black Business School. His dad, Caden's 14. Caden is a 14-year-old millionaire. Caden, I asked him, I said, I saw him at InvestFest and I said, where are you going to go to high school? How's that going? He said, oh, I already finished high school. And I said, wow. I said, that's amazing. His dad was right there with him because his father embodies the principles of family that we talk about here. And his father said, yeah, we're done with high school now. Caden's already a millionaire. And also he said that I asked him where Caden's going to go to college. He said, no, Caden's not going to college because he already makes more money than 99% of all college graduates. And he has a sister that's doing the same thing he's doing. So these are models that are not systematic. These are not models you find in other places. The other models don't work. They lead to failure. They lead to millions of our kids being miserable, sad, broke, disgusted, oppressed, angry, going to work every day, mad at your boss because you're being mistreated, financially insecure, stressed out, vulnerable in every single way. This is not what the Black experience is supposed to be. That's what I believe. And so that's what we do. That's where we are. All right. So anyway, if you want to learn more about the convention, you can go to allblacknationalconvention.com. And let me answer a few more questions and we'll bounce out today. Let's see. Melissa Johnson. Let's see. You answered my dividend question. Okay. You're welcome, Melissa. Okay, great. Oh, wait. Was that Melissa Johnson, Melissa Sobers? I saw Sobers, but then I saw Johnson. Okay. Should I dump my Roblox? Asked Pamela. You know, I think I actually bought some Roblox, but Roblox is under attack right now. Hindenburg Research is doing reports on Roblox and basically saying that their platform that they're lying about their numbers and that they got all these predators on there and stuff, which means you might want to protect your kids from that stuff. But I don't think that it's I think that maybe there's a little bit of an overreaction. So I did actually buy some shares of Roblox. So sometimes when these attacks happen, it's an opportunity to get in there and buy some of the stock cheap. I like Roblox generally speaking. From a fundamental standpoint, is it the greatest stock out here? No, but I think that Hindenburg, you got to remember their agenda is it's almost like how the Democrats make you think the Republicans are horrible and the Republicans make you think the Democrats are all horrible. So that's kind of what Hindenburg does. Um, would I buy Roblox based on the Hindenburg attack? Yeah, I would actually. In fact, I'm gonna buy some shares right now. So give me a second. I'm literally opening up my account. And as I'm buying, like I encourage you to do the same thing. If you got a little extra money sitting around, $20, $50, $100 or more or whatever, just buy you some stock and then don't think about it. Just buy it, throw it in the closet, and then just let it grow, right? So I'm gonna buy some Roblox right now. The price is $40.61 a share. So let me buy a few shares here, and I'm gonna pay the market price since the market's open. And I placed the order. Now I am an owner in Roblox. Now I can go tell my wife that our family owns a piece of Roblox. So, not to tell you, this is not investing advice. I do not give investing advice here ever. I want to make sure you understand that. But that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm buying. Do you have any more African and Japanese stocks? You know what, Natika, I think I made a list of ways to invest in Africa through the stock market. Um, Email support at theblackbusinessschool.com. Maybe they can find that list for you. I don't know where it is right now. Japanese, I think I did do something on Japan too, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I could though. I could look into that. I don't have anything right now though. Any thoughts on MSTR as a long-term hold? MSTR. Yeah, is that Micro Strategies? Is that the name of the company? MSTR. Okay. Yeah, for some reason I feel like I like it. I don't remember why though. I know it's down a little bit, but it's up 30% this month. That's a little bit of a red flag. Um, but do I like the stock? Yeah, I like it. I like it enough that I'm actually going to buy some of that too. So, MSTR is a buy. Ding, ding, ding. All right. So I'm logging in. Okay. So I'm gonna keep answering your questions as I buy shares of MicroStrategy because I do like MicroStrategy actually. And you were asking about Bitcoin. Oh, he wants to turn the company into a Bitcoin bank. I like that. I just like Bitcoin. And so MicroStrategy seems to me like a company that's just going to move with the price of Bitcoin. So, yeah, I believe in Bitcoin. I believe Bitcoin's going to go up over time. I think Bitcoin is assuming the government doesn't mess with it. Right? That's the problem. They tend to find ways to destroy wealth by just being stupid. But if they don't mess with it and they just properly support crypto the way that they should, I think Bitcoin is kind of a no-brainer. I can see Bitcoin really doing well in the future. So let me buy my shares of MicroStrategy. I'm literally buying it right now. It's $198 a share, went down by 2% today. So buying on a down day is typically good. You know, the market goes down, that means things are cheap. So now I'm an owner in MicroStrategy. So thank you for asking that question because now you've changed my family's future. All right, so Mr. Jan Jasmine. Hey, Dr. Boyce, this is kind of off topic. Have you heard about Diddy creating his own political party? I saw this on Instagram earlier. Yeah, he was going to create something. I don't know if he called it the Black Party or something, but yeah, Diddy, he was very political and he could be under fire right now because of his politics. But I also think he's also under fire because Diddy, for a long time, I've never been a big fan of him just as a person in terms of his character and the way he kind of carried himself. I always felt like he represented the very culture that's led to a lot of problems for our young people, especially our young men, where you have a lot of otherwise productive men that are on drugs and out here passing around STDs and becoming alcoholics and dancing their way through life. And I don't think, in my view, that's not a comfortable version of black manhood. I think that that makes us into a caricature, which all impacts us economically because number one, it's going to reduce the number of opportunities black men can get in this world if they don't show up as a rapper, athlete, comedian, or feminine or goofy or whatever, right? They kind of look at us as kids. And number two, when you have a son in your family, your son is $1 million asset. That son, that daughter is a multi-million dollar asset for the family. So when you take $1 million asset, like a healthy black boy, and he is a drug addict at the age of 21, then that asset has been turned into a liability. So rather than him showing up to help his mother get ahead, cutting the grass, helping his family build wealth, he's showing up stealing from his mother. He's borrowing money from relatives and not paying it back. He's financially traumatizing everybody and traumatizing them in other ways because now the mother is crying because she's got to go see her son in rehab. And these are true stories. This is real stuff. This is stuff I see. I see this, and because I'm like, why else would a 17-year-old kid be popping mollies and whatever? Like it's the culture, man. It's not. Stop acting like the entertainment doesn't influence what people are doing. The same things that Diddy got arrested for with the drugs and the buffoonery, that's happening for millions of young black men around the country because they don't have solid men to look up to. If he was a solid man doing solid things, then we would have millions of solid boys trying to be equally solid. When NASA was sending people to the moon and Buzz Armstrong and people like that became American heroes, millions of little boys said, I want to be like that. I want to be the guy with the crew cut who is in the military, who's flying jets, who eventually goes to the moon. And I think that we have to really think about these things because it's hurting us in so many ways financially and otherwise. So I don't care about why they're taking Diddy down. I do believe they let him get away with stuff for a long time. They do this. They make deals with the mafia. They let the mafia sell drugs in the black community because the mafia was helping them to achieve other political goals, in Nicaragua and stuff, right? So that's what they do. They let the criminals get away with stuff, and then when they aren't doing what they were supposed to do anymore, then they say, "Oh, well, this person's a criminal," and we're announcing indictments. But it's all very corrupt, and I don't like it, and it gets on my nerves. And so I ain't gonna be in here fighting for Diddy. I'm sorry, no disrespect. I don't hate him, but no, I'm just not doing that. So there we go. That's my 2 cents. Thank you, Mr. Jan Jasmine. Excellent question. Let's get back to the financial stuff. All right. So King May, do you like ETFs better than regular stock because you're investing in a fund that's distributed throughout instead of directly? Your thoughts? I like ETFs because it's easy. It's very good for a set it and forget it investing model where you just buy it, you're diversified, you don't think about it. It's like taking a multivitamin every day. You don't have to go out and get all the individual nutrients or go eat a bunch of different types of salad to get all the minerals. You just get it in one multivitamin. So ETFs are good for that. And you get natural diversification. ETFs don't go bankrupt. An individual company can. Okay, so that's why ETFs are a great way to jump right in. So if you're not sure what to do, if you're not sure how to invest, go buy you some ETFs and then call it a day. If you do that, you'll be better off than 90% of all Americans when it comes to wealth, especially if you consistently invest in that and don't sell your stock. A lot of people are not ready for retirement. I told you all that there's a retirement crisis that's already begun. It's not in the future. It's not going to happen. It is happening right now. Most Americans are not ready for retirement. And a lot of this started back in the day when they got rid of pensions and started telling people to self-invest in their 401k. That was more of a Republican Ronald Reagan-ish kind of idea. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. A lot of those individuals are not ready to retire at all. They're in deep financial trouble. And so I would encourage you to make sure that you are thinking about these things, preparing for retirement. I put together a whole curriculum on this. If you go to drboyceretirement.com, you can take a look at that. That's drboyceretirement.com. All right, so let's see. GOEV seems to be turning into a penny stock, or is it a buying opportunity? If it's a penny stock, I don't see it as a buying opportunity, to be honest with you. At the ABC, will the breakout for the prime students be announced so that we can gather together and meet? Yes, it will, Terry. I believe it's on Sunday. The schedule is on allblacknationalconvention.com. And Amani, can you text Micah and make sure that she has the prime breakouts and stuff on the schedule on the website? I just want to make sure that's there. I think Amani's in the chat. So Amani, if you could do that for me, I would greatly appreciate that. All right, so let's see. What's happening? Okay, Amani says it's at 5:15. It's on the schedule. Thank you, Amani. Okay, I appreciate that. Let's see what happened to Dr. Christine Parker. I think that's her name. She was coming to the ABC. I think Dr. Parks, Christina Parks, she can't make it this year, but she was at the last two or three, and hopefully she can make the next one. Dr. Christina Parks has a PhD in molecular biology from the University of Michigan, and she was really a hero during the pandemic because she was one of the few scientists that was honest about her perspective that went beyond just everybody go get this shot. I felt like there was a violation of rights because people weren't given enough information to make their own decision. But they were sort of guided in the direction that happened to be most profitable for Pfizer and Merck and all the other companies that literally made hundreds of billions of dollars during the pandemic. I didn't like that personally. That made me uncomfortable. What was Caden doing to generate $1 million business? If you look him up, Caden's done a lot of stuff. He's got this bus, like a financial literacy bus that he drives around and he teaches kids about investing in wealth and stuff like that. But he does a lot of other things. He went to the White House recently, and I just liked him a lot. And I like his father, I like his family, and I just like what they represent. And I see a lot of families out there like that. Some of you that are in this room have families that are like that. And I just may not have mentioned your story, but there's so many people that are just doing great things. Constance Carter, her kids went through the Black Business School and our Black Millionaires of Tomorrow program, and her kids are doing great things. Her son has like I think over $100,000 in stocks or something, and he's under 18, or maybe he's like 19 now. But when he was 11 or 12, he took like $8,000 and turned it into 50,000, something like that. It's something crazy. Constance has shared that story. So there's lots of families like that, lots of Black families like that. That's what should be featured, not just the other stuff. Any mid cap ETF recommendations? None that come to mind right now. If you log in at the blackstockmarketprogram.com and go under what Dr. Boyce is buying, you will find just dozens of stocks that I believe are going to do well in the next 3 to 5 years. So feel free to just log in at the blackstockmarketprogram.com and you can look under what Dr. Boyce is buying. Two more questions, then we're done. Okay, Charles is asking about ETFs again. Okay, so that's one question. We just answered that. And then Shannon says, is there a difference between stock you hold and stock you use for options trading? Yes. Yes, absolutely, Shannon. So if you go into drboyceprime.com under Dr. Boyce Moneymakers, these are stocks that are good for options trading in a specific way. In Prime, we focus on specifically income generation. That's it. Options, a lot of people talk about options, but they talk about options in a way that I think is very risky. I don't participate. If you're talking about like, buying call spreads and really trying to get these quick flips, that's not really of interest to me because I don't like losing money. What we do in Prime is we minimize the risk and then we maximize the income and in that order, right? So you acquire the asset, get your risk down as low as possible, and then make your income. And that's what it's good for. So if you're looking for crazy options trading strategies, we do cover that. Like I do explain, straddles, strangles, butterflies, condors, and all that. That's all in the curriculum. But that's not really what I do with my own money, right? But what we do in the Prime program with generating the income, That's what I do because I'm 53 years old. I don't want to waste my family's money, but I do want to have income and I don't want to have to do things like acquire real estate and then manage tenants and all that. We sold our property because we just didn't like being landlords. It wasn't that much fun. And then you get to a point also where you get tired of working. So it's a good way to make money without working. So feel free to log in at drboyceprime.com to take a look at that. Also, there's a training I did called How to Make Money Without Working. And you can get that if you text the word money to the number 87948. So text money to 87948 and you can take a look at that. All right, guys, I'm out of here. I hope this conversation has been beneficial to you. I always enjoy speaking to you, but now I think I must be getting a little bit tired. My brain is kind of getting the low battery button is going off on my brain. So I think I'm gonna go and convince my wife to cuddle with me for a little bit as I go take an afternoon nap. And I will be back later. And God bless you. And I hope you guys have a great day. And I'll see you guys later. Take care now. Bye bye.